Hey, Randy, Nana.
Hey, Dorcas. Happy New Year.
Happy New Old Year. How are you?
Right. Many happy returns. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm thankful. Are you in Ivory Coast? Where was it?
Yes, Ivory Coast. Yeah.
Okay.
And you?
I'm in Nairobi.
Oh, great.
Yes. Hi, Balwa.
Hi, Dorcas. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi, Palua.
Yes.
Hi. It's Koshi. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I think we'll give about 2 minutes for other people to join, and then we will start.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I think we can start with the first part as other people join. So yeah. Good evening, good morning, everyone. My name is Dorcus Gemenet. For those who do not know me, I work for the Accelerated Breeding Initiative at Genetic Innovation at 1CGR. I am based on the CIMIT campus in Nairobi. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to this series of the monthly COP meeting on breeding pipeline optimization and germplasm management. which previously was hosted by Eduardo, whom all of you know, moved to Erie. And so we had to cancel a couple of occurrences last year because we had conflicts with the transition updates on accelerated breeding initiative, as well as breeding resources initiative. And so today, I think the agenda is, as usual, to just give an administrative update on the purpose of the meeting. And still on the agenda of transition, I'll be giving you, given that we have seen in December the transition of ABI and BRI, as well as the Genetic Innovation Town Hall. I will be giving a short update on how we are transitioning from this breeding pipeline optimization team, formerly of excellence in breeding, into this one CGR structure. And of course, this time, if you have any questions regarding what the overview I'm going to present. But we also wanted to give you time to have a say in the structure of the COP. This is not because the current structure is bad or everything needs to change as we transition, but I think in the beginning, we started with invited talks. I think early last year, we decided that we wanted to have more involvement from CGR and NAS presenters, which we achieved. But towards the end of the year, we had noticed that the participation was slowly going down. And so we wanted to capture your minds to see how we can keep us all engaged and moving forward in this. And therefore, my co-host today, Mali, will be hosting the interactive session with the survey that she sent out, so we can capture what is of interest to all of you for our future planning of this meeting. So as usual, this is a forum for us to create a safe environment where everybody feels safe to present and make comments on any topics that we have. And we also want to provide sessions where guidance and support is provided to implement new ideas, but also to make people aware of any tools, methods, services from our partners, as well as those that can be provided by us, which was formerly Excellence in Breeding, now it's ABI, that's Accelerated Breeding Initiative, and Breeding Resources Initiative. In the last session that we had, Edward already mentioned that he was moving over to Erie. And so we still welcome until we capture what your interests are in the responses to the survey. We still welcome volunteers from the CGI and NAS to present in some of the sessions of this meeting. And if you have a topic that you would like to present here, please send an email to me. Okay. All right. So today, the agenda item was for me to give an update on how we, as a team, formerly Module 2 of Excellence in Breeding, are transitioning into one CGR and what you can expect moving forward. This is going to be hopefully a very short update, and we can have any discussions you might want to have afterwards. So this is on the breeding pipeline optimization support and the quantitative genetic support that we've been giving. What should you expect moving forward, and who should you contact in case you wanted something? So we all know who are in this meeting that all of us as an organization have been working towards breeding modernization. And these have components of breeding program efficiency. And this is where most of us, and especially those of us who have been working with module 2, and of course the breeding teams we have been working with are focused on. Of course, this comes along with the need for change management, because there is a lot of change going on, change in culture, change in breeding schemes, and all other levels of change that you might be thinking about, but also needs a change in governance so that there is customer centricity in the products that are developed from the breeding programs. And so for those of you who have been working with us for about 3 or so years, must have seen this figure ad nauseum, and I apologize for that, but it's a figure that
Dorcus,
using.
excuse
Yes.
me, Dorcas. Sorry to interrupt. I don't think that the slides are changing. Does anyone else see that?
Oh, really?
It seems like it. And you're not in presenter view at this moment on our screen.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Thanks.
No, that's
It's the
okay.
same, it's the same
because
for me. Yeah.
For me, it seems that they are moving okay. All right. What can I?
Can you unshare and then share again, maybe?
Okay, let me stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they moving now or not?
Yes. Now it moves.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we're seeing the next slide. Do you want to put it in presenter view?
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember how to do that.
Okay. Let me see.
Go to display settings.
Yeah. Swap presenter view. Are they moving now? Can we see the slides now?
They are moving, but we still see your presenter view.
Oh,
I see your presenter view.
yes. When I swapped. Okay.
Maybe you should just duplicate the slide so in the display settings.
Display setting duplicates maybe.
And now I am even having trouble moving to the other screen. Just a minute. Okay. Now. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So I don't know where I lost you. Had you seen any of the slides when I started? No? Okay. So let me start again. I'm sorry about that. I was saying I was going to talk to you about how we are transitioning as a team that has been working on breeding pipeline optimization and providing quantitative genetic support. so that the teams who are here, the breeding teams that we work with, should know what to expect and who to contact as we move forward. And as we all know, as an organization, we have been working towards breeding modernization. The teams that are mainly here have been mainly focused on breeding program efficiency. But this comes along with change management at several levels, so the institutional level, at the program level, and things like that, and even change within the operations of a given pipeline. And this change also requires governance so that the products that come from our breeding schemes are actually customer-centric. So as an organization, CGR, we've been working towards all this, and the transition is of course part of the governance as well as change management that we have been seeing. And you are very familiar with this figure that we have been using to discuss with breeding teams, that breeding is a quantitative process that is cyclic in nature, and in the middle of that sits the breeder's equation, which of course uses whose elements can be optimized using the quantitative genetics principles. And we have been using this to explain that breeding requires a component of designing what product is going to be made, engineering where most of us are sitting with as breeding, and delivering that product to the market, where then we have additional information that needs to be considered in design. And you can see that the transition that we have been having, if you had a chance to attend to the ABI as well as the BRI and the Genetic Innovation Town Halls, you can see that the transition is not different from the information that we've been passing through this picture. And you can see that the 4 components in genetic innovation, where we have the gene banks, we have the seed equal, which in this case maps to the delivery part. We have the market intelligence, which maps to the design part. And we have the accelerated breeding ABI, which is supported by breeding resources, which map to the engineering part. And therefore, the transitions we are seeing are providing governance and structures into making these theories operational. Within the accelerated breeding initiative, there are different work packages, and we can see that they also map quite well to this structure. The refocus work package, which has to do with market segments and target product profile, still maps to the design part. We've been talking with the figure that the initial figure that we were mainly focusing on population improvement and for product development, but keeping an eye on the genetic variance that is needed to improve those populations. But these 2 objectives should not be mixed. And in this ABI, as you can see, there is a separation with work package 4, which is named Discover, looking at trade discovery and deployment, which in this case, is the left part of the engineering part of the figure we've been looking at. And we've been mainly dealing on the population improvement and product development, which in this case is ABI work package 5, which we call Accelerate. And the gene banks, of course, are seated there, and they provide input into the trade discovery and deployment, as you can see. So moving forward, we are going to be providing support to implement Accelerate, which, as you can see, is mainly on population improvement for product development. And it's basically what we've been discussing with several breeding teams previously. The other work package in ABI is Transform, which works with the CGR and NARIS networks. And this is cross-cutting because those networks are required at each level of this quantitative process. So next I will introduce the Accelerate support team, and we all know Michael Quinn, who is the Accelerated Breeding Initiative lead. And in this case, he will be providing high-level support to the Accelerate work package. There is myself and Mali, who is also on the call, who is a quantitative genetics specialist. Boja, who's been the interim lead of Accelerate and is a breeding optimization specialist. I think is also on the call. And Christian Vanna, who is a quantitative genetics specialist, whom I presume is also on the call. And so moving forward, this is the team that will be supporting you and reaching out regarding implementing and achieving the objectives of the Accelerate work package. So what are the functions of that team? Most of the time of the team is spent in actually providing direct support with implementing the Accelerate objectives. This, as you may know from the one-to-one meetings that we normally have, either online or face-to-face. And then also optimization research via simulations based on the questions that may arise during these direct support meetings. And so that's where most of the work of the support team will dwell. We also then provide some amount of time to breeding analytics support in this aspect. We work quite closely with the biometrics team, and we have even a community of practice, and we coordinate that team as well. And we also provide analytics support when we recommend a new analytics method. For example, last year when we recommended for teams to use the desired gains index, we had to provide some scripts, share them with some of the biometricians and the breeding teams that we were working with, and also provide some analytics support when there is limited biometric support. But of course, this team cannot promise to provide routine data analytics support because most of the time is spent on the direct support for the QG. And then, of course, in capacity development, which involves, of course, developing materials for training in applying quantitative genetic principles in our breeding programs. So as you saw previously, in the slide where I was showing the support team, now this is the team that will be directly on the ground. As I mentioned, Michael is providing high-level support, especially with the deep dive meetings that we've had with different programs. And but moving forward, this is the team that will be on the ground, and the team you can reach if you have any question. If you are able to see the genetic innovation town hall, you could see that under breeding and pre-breeding, the crops had been grouped into 3 groups. We've tried to fit into that, but made a few, of course, adjustments for QG purposes, and we're grouping the crops according to their breeding methods. The first one being the line crops here, and We will have Christian Banner working with the line crops, in this case, rice, wheat, barley, and legumes. Of course, working very closely with the other QG teams working on those crops, and the biometrics teams, as well as the breeding teams. And the main purpose here is to provide cross-cutting support to achieve the accelerate objectives. The next group is roots, tubers, and bananas. These are clonal and sometimes polyploids. And Mali will be dealing with that group. She's been working with a couple of those crops already. And of course, working quite closely with the biometrics team, as well as the breeding teams working on those crops to achieve the accelerate objectives. And then hybrid crops, at the moment, maize, sorghum, millets, and forages. For the moment, will be dealt with by myself and Borja. We will, of course, still be making changes to these team assignments, but we will be communicating with the contacts as well as the crop leads as we move forward. For the meantime, yeah, this is how we are doing the assignments. Now, we've been talking about the accelerate objectives. This is a summary of those objectives and some tasks. You know, there are several, you have several tasks attached to these objectives for those who already have this work plan. And in most cases, you can see that implementing these objectives requires a lot of quantitative genetics backstopping. And so, we do have a strong team of quantitative geneticists who will be providing support to crops in this perspective. We have a team that is cross-cutting, which is myself, Christian, and Mali. And Eduardo, whom you know very well, he's now the lead quantitative geneticist and biometrician at IRI. And we'll be counting on him to provide support, both quantitative and biometric, to rice teams at IRI, as well as other rice breeding centers. Of course, with Christian, who is on line crops, also supporting in the cross-cutting issues. And then we have Keith, who is a quantitative geneticist based at Gemenet, and we're counting strongly on him to provide quantitative genetic support for the crops at Gemenet. And we will be counting on the members of the cross-cutting team who are working with those groups of crops to also provide cross-cutting support as may be needed across the centers that are dealing with the same crop. Some of the support that we've been giving and that you should expect from the teams, of course, have to do with, for example, mapping your breeding schemes. And in this case, we would like that the breeding schemes are actually linked to the breeding pipelines as have been supplied to the market intelligence and refocus teams so that the data can be cross-usable. The team can also give you support in breeding scheme optimization with the simulations and things like that, optimizing your selection intensity, managing your genetic variance, optimizing your recycling strategies, using markers optimally, working with the operations also and the biometrics team, your evaluation decisions. And if you're using exploiting heterosis, how to do that optimally, your selection decisions as well as breeding program assessment, working with the biometrics team, and many other things that I may not have listed here. So looking at these objectives also, so we have seen that they require a lot of quantitative genetics backstopping, and we have a team that will be providing that, but they also need a lot of analytical support to implement, and therefore we work and will continue working very closely with the biometrics team to help in the routine data analysis and implement whatever recommendations or changes we might agree upon as we look at the breeding programs. So we work very closely with these teams. I don't know if I forgot one, didn't check, but we work with all the biometrics groups within the centers that are doing breeding of those crops and forages. And of course, we also will continue working with our partners in the industry. We've worked with Corteva. In fact, for our next COP meeting, we have a very interesting talk aligned for you from a colleague from Corteva. We'll continue working with colleagues at VEA, KWS, and many others as they come on board. We'll also continue collaborating with our advanced research institutions as we have done previously. We also have consultants that work with us, and we'll continue partnering with our funders to make sure that we can support breeding programs to provide customer-centric varieties in the future. So thank you very much for listening. And yeah. I think I have some questions in the chat, but if you would like to ask your question live, please go ahead. Just raise your hand and then I can give you time. Otherwise, I will read the questions in the chat. Kevin, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Dorcas. Just a couple questions. I mean, we've had, well, maybe I'm outdated, so I'm just asking for an update. There's been quite a nice group coordinated by Yang Hua on biometrics, and my understanding was that the biometrics service across 1CGIAR was housed in the breeding resources, and maybe that's changed, and that's fine, but it's just useful for many of us, at least for me, to know this. And the other question is, I saw mentioned that Christian, Marley, and Dorcas are now providing service to groups, clusters of crops. I don't remember the exact terminology used for them. Line crops, hybrid crops were, I think, 2 of the 3. And I'm wondering if that's aligned with the agreed level 4 designations that are being discussed by John Derrera for oversight of the breeding activities across 1CG. And of course, I hope they are aligned, and whether these 3, I don't think so, but whether these 3 are now level 4 appointments to do this work. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Kevin. To start with your first question about the breeding analytics services, I didn't want to comment about that. That would be an update that will be invited to this team at some point. There are still efforts going on to put this centralized analytics team together, in which we are cross-cutting. So in this presentation, I'm only giving an update on the breeding optimization work. And as we put together the central analytics, I think there will be an update on how that is going to work at the moment. But that is still a team that is going. I am part of it as a cross-cutting team member. And I think, yeah, efforts are still ongoing on that. Regarding your second question on whether these are level 4 positions, I want to say no. This is what we have been doing, working with crops in the optimization. We only assigning ourselves to crops just to align with how they are grouped there. It's not an exact match, of course, with the last grouping that we saw from the Genetic Innovation Town Hall. But this is just to make sure that we can follow up from our team in giving support to accelerate and quantitative genetic support across the crops. But it has nothing to do with those positions that are assigned to the different crops. In fact, I would think that these positions are actually all housed within the breeding innovation and modernization part of that structure in the genetic innovation, breeding and pre-breeding. Kevin, did you have another question?
No, those were my two questions. I think the biometrics thing is not really a concern. I'm sure there will be coordination with Young Hua et al, but it will. You know, I would need clarity. I think we all need clarity. It also has big implications about where our biometrics staff are funded from, whether they have time allocated to AB or to breeding resources. So that would need clarification, but it's not an urgent matter. On the other issue, I don't recall exactly how the division was done under John Derrera's planning for level 4 positions, but it again may not be crucial that these be exactly lined up the same way, but it could be helpful. It just would be worth considering whether it would be helpful to align the work of Christian, Marley, and yourself in supporting crops, to align it with, if it isn't currently aligned, align it with the thinking of John for how we're going to organize the breeding groups. Yeah, thanks for those answers and for the information.
Thank you. Okay, any other question? I do not seem to see. Oh, what about some review of BPAT surveys to aid determination of most common weaknesses? Yeah, thank you very much, Randy, for that question. I didn't mention about the priorities. I was just talking about how we are transitioning the team into the initiatives and into the structure. But how we set priorities, we have, of course, the BPAT recommendations. We have also carried out late last year a survey with breeding programs to prioritize the 3 most urgent plans that they have. And so we have all this information, and we will be developing the work plan based on this prioritization. So yeah, the BPAT recommendations are also part of what will direct what we prioritize with the teams. Thank you. Any other question? I don't see raised hands, so I think at this moment I would want to pass the mantle over to my co-host, Marley, to then move forward with our survey of what you would like the COP to look like moving forward. Thank you very much. Marley, please.
Thanks, Dorcas. Hi, everyone. As Dorcas was mentioning, we just want to give you a chance to provide feedback on the structure of the COP. So there's a survey. I'm putting the link in the chat, and you can click on that. It's also in your email. So if you would, I think I'll provide 10 minutes just for people to fill that out a little bit. And then we'll have some time for discussion. So please let me know if you can't access that survey or have any issues. I'm going to share my screen so you know where you should be headed. Does everyone see this webpage?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yep, so here's the poll. Your responses are going to show up here. And they're just really simple questions about how active you want to be in the COP. A couple of different formats we could try if people are not as interested in the seminars. A couple of topics, and then the most important part is down here. You can list any topic that you want to discuss, that you want to present, and then like any specific speaker that you'd like us to contact and stuff like that. And if for some reason you don't have a chance to finish this now, it'll stay open so you can access the link. So yeah, I'm going to quiet down for a minute while you fill this out. If you think of something you wanted to put in after you finish your survey, you can feel free to put it in the chat. We'll save the chat, so we'll get that too. All right, a lot of people have responded, so let's try to finish up in 2 more minutes by 7 minutes after 40. Okay, I am going to leave the poll open, so don't feel like you have to submit your response now. You can always fill this out in the future, but I do want to start getting the discussion going because that's kind of the purpose of this. So let's go ahead and look at what you've said about these. I'm going to go through the summary quickly and then open it up question by question. So we weren't sure if you wanted to have a more or less active role in the COP. The vast majority of people are kind of happy with the status quo, with a few people wanting a more active role and a few people wanting a less active role. If you want a more active role, I think it'd be appropriate to email us or anything directly, because we'd be happy to schedule probably a talk for you and so forth. Does anyone want to make any comments on the level of activity or commitment that the COP is requiring? Dorcas, anything from you? You're muted.
Comment for now, I think a big percentage of people would like to keep the same level of involvement, but I'm excited that a few of them would want a more active role in the COP meeting. So I think we should follow up on that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to move to the next set. These 4 questions were about possible meeting types, just in case you were unhappy with the structure. But actually, a lot of people are okay with this sort of talk. I didn't really measure how much you want to change things, so I'm just going to try to eyeball that. Really high levels of interest in these breeder roundtables. Okay, that's exciting. The preliminary results for this were kind of divisive, so this would be great, maybe to try to set up breeder roundtables. Yep, bionutrition roundtables are also mostly okay with people. Maybe a few more no's in there than the previous. I'm guessing maybe that's because there are other forums for biometrics. And then the tutorials are also not a little bit more divisive. A lot of people are interested, but some people are really kind of not. So that's fine. Does anyone want to comment on possible meeting types? Do you have other ideas of what we could do, or?
I don't see any hands raised, Ali, so.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I can see that most of them would be interested in a variety of them, of those, including the structure as is now. So maybe a mix of some of those would be good.
Okay. Yeah, we'll try to mix it up. As far as the topics go, yeah, as usual, a lot of interest in genomic selection, followed by selection indices. That one kind of surprises me, but it's good to know. 3-way tie between the TPE, statistics and modeling, and costing tools. And then those related to the national partners and industry with very little interest in the basic. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we probably don't need to do too much basic stuff. That's pretty straightforward. And then this is the part I'm really interested in, is the specific topics you want to discuss. So yeah, farmer participatory selection models, mate selection, I think we'll definitely talk about that. Operational efficiency in met trials. Yeah. I might just try to share these results with you so that, because I don't think we have time to go through them now. Okay, I'm seeing a lot. Some themes of genomic selection, a lot on actually data curation, data collection and curation tools. I guess some of those, Dorcas, we might, those might go to another team, right? That's not really our area, but thank you for those. We have some people offering to present, which is wonderful. Thank you. Yep, our packages, potatoes, sorghum, excellent. So if you propose one of these, I wanted this to be anonymous, so just email us, please, if you responded to this. I can kind of guess who some of you are. And then we have some proposals for people to invite: Jessica, Chris, Diego, Gary, some NARS breeders, and abiotic stress. So that's just for you to kind of know the temperature of the room. All in all, I think people are still interested in topics that we've been discussing, but floor is open for any further discussion of how you want to structure the COP.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marley, and thank you all for that feedback. I think it's quite important that we still have your interest going with the meeting structure as well as the topic we've been dealing with. We will try to bring in some diversity with the other topics that you've rated highly, and we will look at your comments and come back to you with what the team really wants. So this is helpful for us to plan moving forward. I think that ends our survey part, the interactive part, and therefore if there is any burning question, comment that we didn't capture, I think this is the time. Otherwise, yeah, I would think that we can close the meeting here and see you in our next meeting, which is in a month, and we will have a talk aligned to you from Cotiva. Thank you very much, and see you.
Thank you, Dorcas. Have a great day. Take care, everyone.
Hi, Eduardo.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dorcas and Marley.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Elisa, we will share the recording. Okay.